meeting of Sinastra City Council to order. And a roll call.
Grove?
Here.
Jewel?
Here.
Ansgar?
Here.
Block?
Here.
Granville? Here.
Approval of the, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Also move. I'll second.
Call for the question.
Jewel?
Aye.
Ansgar?
Aye.
Block?
Aye.
Granville? Aye. Grove?
Better turn that off.
You did now. Okay, opportunity for citizens to speak on their concerns. Do we have any? Seeing none, we'll need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 12th meeting. Also move.
Second.
Call for the question.
Block?
Aye.
Granville? Aye. Grove?
Aye.
Jewel?
Aye.
Ansgar?
Aye.
Okay, motion for the approve the payment of the bills.
We have one additional bill to Kirkstead and Associates for $23,883.46. And we went through the other bills. I'll make a motion to approve the payment of the bill.
I'll second.
Block?
Aye.
Granville? Aye. Grove?
Aye.
Jewel?
Aye.
Ansgar?
Aye.
We don't, just open a public hearing on the 2000, or the fiscal year 2019 budget. So,
There was no written or verbal comments.
yeah, there was no comments or anything. So, it's in your minutes, gentlemen. Any issues or anything that?
I don't see nothing.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Get a motion to approve the 2019 proposed budget.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Call for the question.
Grove?
Aye.
Jewel?
Aye.
Ansgar?
Aye.
Block?
Aye.
Granville? Aye.
Need to open up a public hearing. It shows two of them on our agenda for the essential purpose loan and the general purpose loan. All the paperwork on that has been incorporated into one, so I've heard no objections or comments on it. So do we have any from anybody else? Close the public hearing. Need a motion on it? To approve the, it's a general obligation loan agreement. Is what they got it as.
That's resolution number 2018-12. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2018-12.
I'll second.
Call for the question.
Jewel?
Aye.
Ansgar?
Aye.
Block?
Aye.
Granville? Aye. Grove?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is Bill, with a update on the project and the bids.
Okay, I think, or I know Tammy said she put the letter that I had written in front of you regarding the bids, plus the bid tab for your information. The different unit prices that each bidder bid. As I stated in my letter, we try to do a life cycle cost analysis based on a 40-year life. And if you look at it, They look like they're very similar. The thing that comes into play is whatever interest rate we use or discount rate. One way it looks like concrete's better, one way it looks like bituminous is better, depending on the interest rate. But, the big difference there is your initial cost, obviously, your first cost. If you're gonna look at it over a 40-year period, there's not a lot of difference based on the prices that we received, as I see it. So I guess at this point, it's a council decision as to how much money you actually wanna spend. I have no objection to either contractor, they're both good contractors. They do a good job. Guess it's up to you guys how you wanna proceed. Any questions, I guess, as far as the numbers or how we put it together?
Anybody have any questions for Bill?
I'll make a motion to go with the low bid, go with Heartland.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion and second. Call for the question. This resolution will
And we'll
be,
do that and then we can.
oh, okay,
award the grant.
okay.
Okay, so that will Walk,
Aye.
Granville, Roll,
Aye.
Jewel,
Stand.
Ansgar.
Aye.
Okay, so then we will let Heartland know,
Sorry.
we'll let them know, we'll get contracts sent out, so that they can get their bonding and everything put together.
What's the start date on this?
We don't know yet, we'll have to talk to them and see what they,
Do we have to-
how they're gonna work it in or when they're gonna start. Completion date is September 15th.
Okay.
Now, the other contract, I did talk to, or I sent an email to Dallas, and he responded that for the schedule, that they're hoping to start sodding on May 1st, weather permitting, and he figures everything will be done within a couple of weeks. So if that's the case, they should be done by,
A couple weeks is not football time.
no,
Actual
not,
couple weeks?
yeah, hopefully it's middle of May.
Actual couple weeks.
That's his schedule that he's given me, we'll see. I guess.
What do you think? Do you think that's a feasible schedule, a couple weeks?
If the weather allows, I think it can be done. We gotta have dry soil, basically dry in order for the sodding work to be done. It's great, and that's the biggest part that's left.
Barring a May 2nd snowstorm.
Yep. Yep.
Does that include the work with that tube that we're gonna put in at the Pleasant?
Yeah, we need to talk to him about the length of that,
Okay.
and, there's also one on Second Street that I think needs to go in now too, but we'll talk to him on that one. I don't know, Mike, you know where that one's at, between Church and Park, I think, there's an alley there. It's not paved or anything, but
Guess I don't know nothing on that one.
there was Dave had mentioned this earlier, that people were talking to him about being able to get in and out of that alley. It's not upgraded as an alley, but there's a platted alley there. They drive over the grass, so we put a ditch through there, so.
You know anything about that, Justin?
Yeah, there was talk about putting a culvert underneath there so they could drive to their alley. I don't know what was,
I don't think anything's been decided on that as far as the
Yeah.
council or the.
I don't
Alley
think s-
access.
It's an alley access that's to an unimproved alley, but people do drive back there. I
That's
guess.
the one behind Liberski's house that he owns, correct?
no, it's
It's on Second.
it's on Second, but it'd be closer to, Pleasant Street.
Oh,
Some there
okay,
by-
yeah, for the utility company.
Between
I'd have to
Fletcher's
look
and-
at it, but.
No, Baldus's,
Ballas's, yeah, Ballas's.
cause they
Oh,
got
okay.
power easement through
Okay,
there.
right.
If we're gonna do that, we obviously don't wanna sod that area, so if that's what the council wishes to do, that was one that Dave had mentioned last fall, yeah.
So we've not made a decision on that one.
I haven't, other than what Dave said, we should put one in, but that's kinda up to you guys at this point.
can put that down, Tammy. Thank you.
So that's the proposed schedule, start May first, weather permitting, and be done in a couple of weeks. We'll see. Got some sidewalk replacements and concrete work down around the culverts on Seventh, regrading of a couple of aggregate ditches like in front of Rose Place there where it's holding water, some of those things, but that shouldn't take very long. Any other questions on that one? Hopefully that'll weather allow them to do that. And that would work good for these guys probably not being on top of them, I'm hoping anyway. But they'll start maybe a little later, I don't know what your plan is, so we'll see.
Pretty flexible at this point.
I'll get the contracts out, we'll get them back, and we'll see where we go from there. That's all I have on the project at this point, unless there's some questions or comments other than that.
Hartman, we're doing that, tubing on Park Street, weren't they? That was in the bid.
Yep.
That's under this project.
Yep.
Yep.
Did we get the footage on that? Did you get that figured out?
Yeah,
Close.
it's in the
Yeah.
the project, yeah. I don't remember.
It was give and take a hair bit, kinda depending on where it was,
Where they
yeah,
We have a quantity in there that could
change a hair
move a
bit.
little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, and work reports. District Central?
I'll get it off to you.
I just have a couple of things unless there's something you have for me.
We need to, we did that anyway.
Yeah,
No,
for
yeah,
the-
yep.
Go ahead, Lance.
All right, the iPad thing there is just that I did try to write a grant for some iPads or computers for you guys. I don't know when that'll be looked at. Ronnie Pitson told me it's either March or April, depending when they have a board meeting. So whenever they have a board meeting, they'll make that decision, and if we don't get it this time, I can always reapply. But we at least got something in the works right now to see if we can get some type of an iPad or a computer for the members of the council that would like to use those. The other thing is, last year we had a concern about an alley that is over here between Train Lane and Franklin Street. It's behind Sam Beaver's house and Jordan Damaris. There's an alley in there. It's an open alley. I had sent a letter to them letting them know that that is an open alley because one of the homeowners had a concern that there was being vehicles parked in there blocking the alley. So I've contacted them both, making sure that they both knew that that's an open alley, do not park anything in there, so that way we can have access to the alley. I'm not sure how it gets used, if it gets used very often, but one homeowner wants it open because he does use it. Apparently, there still was vehicles being left in there. Then the former mayor sent a letter to Sam Beaver stating that I believe it was something about the city guys would tow vehicles out of there if there was vehicles in there again. So the former mayor had sent him a letter stating that. I guess there's still vehicles being parked there because we just got contacted tonight, right before the council meeting, from the one homeowner that was concerned about it, and I said I'd bring it up to you tonight to see what you would like to do now. So everybody's gotten letters reminding him it's an open alley, and I'm not sure who's all parking stuff in there. I don't want to say it's just Sam, there might be somebody else, but apparently it's an open alley, things are being parked there, and it was left last fall that if things were there, the city would tow them out of there at the owner's expense. So I need to know from now, new mayor and council, that's what the old mayor said to do. Do we follow through with that, or do we do something else? Because the homeowner would like to know.
And they're parked there blocking the alley and they can't get through.
Correct. That's my understanding, is that the one subject that owns a house there would like to be able to get through to do some mowing and stuff. Now granted, that's not happening right now, but it's not rock though, all the way through. It's like half rock and half grass, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's right by her house too, obviously, but it's just been a concern. We've written some letters and stuff, but the way we left it was the city would tow vehicles if they were left there.
Has it been staked out at all, where that alley's supposed to be?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I probably would stake it out first. I have a feeling that garage is probably on it, part of it.
Who's garage?
That would be There's a garage that it looks like it's on Jordan Damaris's property, but it's not Jordan's garage.
Correct.
Right.
I mean,
That's
So-
kind of a weird block there.
It
is.
That was
Alley.
cut out
And
when-
I don't know if it has been or not, that I guess I don't know, I really don't have any idea if Conrad's ever done that for those guys or not.
No, I don't think it has.
I just wanna be able to give the homeowner an answer, because he's been waiting since last fall, and he said it's an open alley, and we should all be able to drive through it, and he just says that there has a tendency to be things parked in the way. And he's got pictures to show it, he sent it to us. And I don't know how long that's gonna take, I guess, to have it marked out, then what are we gonna do, that's just another month, then another length of time, so,
I can talk to Sam. I will talk to Sam.
I
He's
think
my
for the time
neighbor.
being, he probably shouldn't park there till we figure out what's gonna
Right.
happen with the alley.
and that's what we've sent the letters for, and the former mayor said if they're there, we will tow them.
Yeah.
So we need to either follow up on that, cause that's what the old former mayor said we will be doing. So that's why I just wanna go back and tell him this is what we're going to do, so do we follow what the old mayor told us to do? Or how should we
That
handle
would
it?
be the new mayor's decision,
That's why I'm bringing it to your attention tonight.
cause it wasn't the council issue. Yet.
What's the council feel?
So,
I think one of the things we need to do is, like Mike said, we need to stake that out
I agree.
and find out where we're at.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
rock it.
If we can make it an
It's a
alley.
weird-
Right,
yeah,
right.
It's a weird setup.
Should be staked though, for sure, to see what it is.
Yeah, to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just wanna make sure that their needs are being met, we're addressing it, so we're not just putting it
I think
off.
for the time being, you should contact Sam and tell him he needs to move his vehicle, out of the way, and we're gonna get it staked out, and we're gonna see what we're gonna do from there.
Did
Okay.
the city plow that snow?
No, cause it's mostly grass, so, we don't,
So you can't plow, I mean,
yeah.
There's
we-
a tree
we had
stump
re-
there, I
we had
think,
re-
too.
Yeah,
Have Conrad do that right away.
yeah, I think we better tell them we're gonna have it
Okay.
staked out so we know what it is, and we can continue and put it on our next agenda with the results and get it gravel. So that would change
Make it a travelable alley.
parking there, if it's gravel all the way through,
Right.
that,
And that's where I just wanna make sure both,
Like the one,
Yeah.
they're already traveling.
both get the information and both are happy, hopefully, with the outcome.
Always like to get through.
do you guys think that's? the route?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many people have ever driven through there, honestly, probably not very many.
So if if it's not gravel, nobody knows it's an alley, so they park there. You know?
Right.
That's the way it's always been.
Yeah. So if
You know,
we
when previous
decided-
owners lived there, though, there was a big, truck, a tractor ring, you know, for a fireplace, and, I mean, it's always been used,
as
you know,
personal.
yeah, and so, this is probably the first time I've heard anybody complain about, or, you know, wanting that open, I've not heard that before.
Well, they asked to
Yeah,
have,
that's been on previous, council meetings to have that open.
and the council decided.
But when Pages
that we
lived there
we're
and,
gonna
or, you know,
sell it.
Pages and.
So
Oh, yeah.
it stays as an alley, so I think, just give them that information, and then,
Okay.
the new mayor is gonna give them a little bit, but don't park there, till we can get it figured out.
Sure, and that's just what I wanna be able to give him an answer for what you guys think now.
That sound all right, guys?
Gotta work both ways.
I will do that, thank you.
All right, thank you. Jennifer, can I ask you your time schedule, do you need to be on here quickly?
Within probably 30 minutes if I can.
Okay. Any problem if we move, with new business, we'll, bring her up and let her speak to us now?
Let's go through the.
Go through the employees? All right, as soon as we're done with the employees, we'll get you on. Okay. Wastewater, Water Hillman is, at a kids' concert, he gave me an update. Help with snow and tree removal, and he's done some jetting of, the sewer behind the Sportsman. And then they also jetted out a culvert at the industrial park. I had him do some checking on, with Test America versus the Ag Source on the E. coli and different testings, and because we're hoping to be able to get a courier to pick up the E. coli test that's gotta be done, and there's not enough difference, and they don't have somebody coming up here at this point, so, we're gonna stick with Test America, and we'll have to deal with getting those samples down to Cedar Falls the best we can, so. And then he also met with HydroClean, was it this week, or last week? This week. On the manholes, and, they were gonna give us a price on the lining of the sewers and the pigging the pipes, so we've got an idea what that would cost to fix up some of it.
Tell me what picking water mains is.
Well, they run,
You try, if you got a 4-inch or 6-inch pipe,
Okay.
they run it back through to try and get it back to as close as,
What it's supposed to be?
yes.
Gotcha.
it's like
They use different size, they call them
Yeah.
pigs.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
They're
start out.
Torpedo kind of looking things,
Yeah.
and they
Okay.
start smaller, and keep going larger until they,
Good pipe where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
well, they hope they can get that stuff off.
Mhm.
clean
Is
top.
it real, I mean, is there many people around that do it, Bill, or not?
I don't know if there's a lot of people that do it, but we did it with a force main here years ago, and it cleaned out the grease and stuff that was in that force main and improved the capacity. It could do the same thing on a water main, I guess. I just don't, how much have you got built up on that? Those pigs aren't, I mean, they're soft, the first ones are soft, and they get a little harder as they go. They just don't wanna get them stuck in there, so to
Right.
speak.
Does like scrape it then, or?
Kind of, it
Okay.
kind of tries to push it,
Okay.
kinda like a torpedo or a,
Boring machine.
Yeah,
or a
Basically,
yeah.
bullet, you know, it's kinda like
So-
shaped like that, and you try to force it through, and
Yes.
they have been successful doing it, I know, just how hard it's encased on your pipes, and what the condition of your pipes are.
Yeah, and the lining and so on, to check to see what it can do for the infrastructure and the leakage going to our lagoons. The DNR, as you see in your packets, we got a letter from the DNR that we failed too many, E. coli tests. And, wanna know, do like on the 6th, whatever, what we were gonna do, what action we were gonna take to further prevent violations. I did meet with them along with Lonnie and talk to them a little bit, and they give us some ideas, so, we're gonna have to put this information to our committee and let them start doing some work on it, because it's gonna take some work to get that done, so. And he also had the inspection of the facilities and so on, and he's waiting on a letter back from them, so. Looks like we're gonna have our work cut out for us on this, lagoon stuff, so.
We knew that was coming.
Yeah, we knew that was coming, and it happened to arrive, so. And that's pretty much what I know there, and he's gonna contact, Iowa Rural, Water, and then, we're gonna have our flow meter recalibrated and make sure it's right, because the numbers are really,
Yeah, they're like double.
yeah,
And
and,
this time of year, it's,
yeah, and he's not sure that it was calibrated right last time because of the difference.
The
in
frozen
so-
ground, it shouldn't be quite as high as it is.
So, that's coming down the road, so.
did you say anything, DNR say anything about, like sludge removal, would that help any?
Yeah, they talked about that, they also talked about, the possibility of covers over the lagoons, to keep the heat in, because that's what causes some of our issues. Trying to think what else. Well, the ultraviolet light, that type of thing, and so there was some options, but I think, it's gonna take quite a bit of digging into to really find out what we need, and they talked about the lining of the sewers too, so.
Okay.
So, that's kind of what, he was here to do the inspection, not to talk about that, but I went down that morning and talked to him.
Okay. Thank you, Norm.
He's got something on the. Oh, there's some things on the. Now, this is the controls and everything, but, so I think that's pretty much his report, so. We try and get him here so we can ask him and he can answer. He knows all these tests and everything, and I'm not familiar, so. Okay. Justin, it's your turn.
There's a couple things I'll touch on. Snow removal, been keeping us pretty busy with all the snow and ice and salt in the roads. We cut 3 trees down with Jim Bell last week. 3 big trees. We also trimmed 6 blocks of trees. Trimmed.
Got a question for you, I had a comment, did all the alleys get, in the last snow get plowed?
Not this last time, no. Some did, just because it was so soft underneath, that we went through some and we started digging up
Okay,
too much gravel and grass,
yeah,
so we backed off on the
Okay.
alleys, so.
you got any questions for anyone?
Well, here's his lawnmower.
Truck.
Are you being optimistic there or what?
Yeah, actually, Paul's gonna talk on that.
You wanna do the
So-
truck while you're up?
I can do the truck since I'm
Okay.
talking.
Okay.
So we've kind of been budgeting a new truck for the street department. The transmission is kind of slipping in it. I don't know how long it's gonna last. We can probably baby it along since we just drive it in town, but we kind of want to get something different.
White city truck, is that what we're talking?
City truck, yeah.
White one?
One with flatbed.
Yep.
So
What year is that, Justin?
it's a 92.
You got your money out of it.
Yeah. So, no, just, we talked about it at the budget meeting. So we're just kinda figure out what kind of price we wanna spend on one.
I mean, are you looking at something, you want another flatbed, or you want
Yeah.
a regular, you do, okay.
Yep.
Have you found any more lately, other than
I
those?
haven't.
Okay.
No.
These are probably all gone.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
probably all sold by now, but
This is something we can do in July, correct?
Well, you guys can give him
A price range,
and
kind of?
then if you
Yeah, I
find
think
something
that's
in the
what it is.
meantime, just give him approval up to a certain,
And if you guys, you know, I'm not picky, if you guys find something that catches your eye, you know.
I don't think the city should buy a vehicle from the state auction, cause they're half rusted out as they are, so.
Yeah.
My feeling.
I talked to Vanderhaid today and all they had was a 2006 Duramax, 11-foot dump on it. They wanted 27,000 for it. And then they had a Chevy diesel and he didn't tell me what year that was, it had 10-foot bed on it. They wanted 14,000 for it.
Well, I think we need to give them a range to look at and not
yeah, and then you guys can still approve, I mean,
approve.
but if something
What did
comes up.
you guys on the committee kind of budgeted?
I don't know if you need a diesel.
No, I don't think so either.
I think we were talking in a range of 15,000 and that was budgeted.
I don't think you're gonna buy much decent, probably less than that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know what we had talked about then was between 15 and 25, talk closer to the lower is what we were looking for, but.
Are you talking just a flatbed then, or, with the dump on it, or
Just
Just
a flatbed.
Yeah,
flatbed with
you
no
know,
dump?
Yeah.
I think we're kinda looking at chassis and using, flatbed.
If that was
Oh, I see.
feasible too. Flatbed they got now is in good shape.
Okay.
But, I mean, looking at those right there, I think those are all nice trucks. And some had more than we needed, but for the price, it would've been convenient, like that one over there had a spreader on it, that one's got a apartment.
And I can check with them too, I can call them and see if those trucks are still available too.
It was not bad, the ball on it.
So I think really what we need to do for the committee looking at it, we need to say, is that price range okay, and then we'll have to deal with it there. And then final approval will come through the council.
I'm happy with the price range.
Do we need a motion on that?
Motion to set,
Yeah, we'll need a motion to set a price range.
I'll make a motion to, have Justin look for a truck between the $15,000 and $25,000 range. Kinda bring back some ideas of what you got and go from there.
Well, second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Call for the question.
Granville. Aye. Grove.
Aye.
Jewel.
Alright,
Astor.
Aye.
Walk.
Motion carried. Okay, the lawnmower situation?
Just after Justin brought up about the truck, there may not be any money left for lawnmower. I put something on a piece of paper and hopefully it'll save some time. I'll look for.
thank you, Paul.
I started mowing for the city last year, and there's a few areas where our mower is making it pretty tough for us. The children's garden with the obstacle course, and around the walking path around the high school is keep adding stuff, which is great, but it doesn't help the lawnmower out any. I'll go down the line, kind of keep it in order.
How many hours are on our lawnmower we have
Okay,
now?
yep,
Paul?
that's when that point here. It's on the last page, we have 2,278 hours on our lawnmower right now. We have, 2 decks for it, a 52-inch, which seems kinda small in some ways for the lawn mowing, and we've got a 72-inch, which also seems almost too big in some areas, for the awkward areas. So anyway, I got some prices and some information down to give you some ideas. As I understand, there's been talk of possibly, or money budgeted for that. Whether that's right or not. The first page of yours shows a Ferris, which is made by Simplicity. It's the same exact company, they're made in the same line, but if it's painted red, it's a Ferris. If it's painted yellow, or I should say what, orange? Orange. It's a Simplicity. So Steve Oberski had some information, there's a picture of one there. My personal opinion right now, this is a front mounted deck, like we have already. I don't see a big improvement over what we have. The rear end sticks out so much. Doing the trimming in some of these smaller areas, we're banging into stuff all the time and can't really help it. It's a long, awkward machine, but anyway, Steve got on the second page, gave us a bid of one of 11.6 plus 150 freight. I'm just gonna keep moving on from there. In my opinion, the best thing is a mid-cut. I got a mid-cut to do the city cemetery last year and fell in love with it. It's a lot shorter, stubbier, it's quicker, you don't have that rear end sticking around on you. He priced out a Cobalt, a 61-inch, so it's exactly right, just averages out the 2 decks we have right now. And he has that, the price on there, on the next page. So he did a pretty good job for us, but $76.86 plus 150 freight, so that was $78.36 for a brand new commercial duty mower. I got the exact same bid for Mark's tractor. I have it on an email, but I don't have it right here in the sheet. But on an email, he bid it out at $83.49, the identical mower to it. Okay. Went to Gordy's. They got some information from them on a grasshopper on a mid-mount. You see the Gordy sheet there. He had a grasshopper at 7,600. I guess one thing I had against it, it does not have the suspension that the others have on it. So that to me is pretty huge after being on there for quite a few hours a day. He had a Gravely on there, a little more money, $89.29 if you bought it by the 25th of March. I don't like getting pushed into a corner when you gotta buy it by a certain date, and that's your price, otherwise it jumps up to about 10,000. Okay, so that's a couple things there. Yes, next sheet, Steve has his information on there. At the bottom of the sheet, he has down, I'm kind of leaning that way if I had the answer to it, a used Cobalt, excellent condition, 450 hours. He could sell that to us for $52.50. A used one compared to a new one. And then I'm gonna jump right into my last page I had on there, if I had these in order for anybody, but the first thing that was, we looked into was a brand new Ferris front mount mower, which I don't think is a big improvement over what we have, because I think some of the tight spots. But if you see some of the extras that we probably would need to have for it, you start adding up quite a bit of money. The cab is $2,200. You've got a snow blower at $2,900. There's an optional brush there, but my idea of all that is, number one, we have that already, some of that stuff with our mower right now. My idea would be to keep the mower we already have, use the deck on it, the smaller deck of the two. We could pick up all of our leaves with it, with what we already have. We have a nice hard, I don't know what you call it, container in the back end that takes the leaves. We have the cab for it already. They would only give us maybe $3,500 for what we already have, and we could make ours probably last quite a few years if we use it just for those two purposes. The main hours that we use on our would be for the lawn mowing during the week. And that's where my final suggestion would be, if I had a choice, I would say, I would lean toward the used one from Woberski, or if you wanna go do one, go new one. I know the budgets are tight, but I think that used one would go a long ways. It's a mid-mount. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the mid-mount over the
The option
front
4
mount.
is a mid-mount as well, it doesn't say.
Yeah, pardon me?
Okay. Option 4 is also a mid-mount. It
Yeah.
says on option
Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
Okay.
Option 2 is a brand new one.
Right.
Option
or
4
it's
is
the
a used
exact
one.
same thing. It's just-
They're exactly the same thing.
Maybe someone else could.
I guess I'd almost wanna rule out option 2 because there's quite a bit, there's enough difference in the bids.
So 450 hours, maybe, is that a season, or is that?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be pushing closer to 2 seasons on
Okay.
it.
2 seasons.
Yeah. It really is a clumsy vehicle. It'd be like using, like, back in the old days, you probably, if you were farming, you might have used your M-Farmall or something for the smaller work around the place, but you didn't put the 50-20 John Deere necessarily on the loader. That's kind of what we're running into here. I will be happy to, if you'll pay me to mow, I'll use anything you give me. Pardon me?
You'll push more?
We have to use that for the city park. We have that, that's part of the deal already.
Real.
Paul, what was the difference between a new one equivalent to this 5,200 for a price?
A brand new
70
Simplicity Cobalt was $7,800,
7,800 compared to
and the used one was $5,250.
5,250. With 450 hours on, is there any warranty?
$450? No.
2-year warranty on commercial through the government bid system, would that be on the new one?
That I'd have to double check.
Normally it's
on the
1
government.
year, but there might be a 2. The new one looks pretty attractive.
What do you guys budget for a lawnmower man?
Not
Look
sure.
back and see.
Did you,
I wanna say it was 12, but,
I thought you said 12, Lonnie had mentioned, or Lonnie.
cause we kinda
Sorry,
mentioned
Justin.
that my budget meeting was, I wanna say 12, but I'm not 100% on that.
I agree with you, Paul, on keeping that grass out, because they need something to pick up the parts and
all those extras add up so much, I think on that one of those sheets, it shows you.
And
the
you don't
price
get
of
nothing
them.
for them for trade
Yeah.
in. You basically give them back to them.
Yeah, and we don't use the, we pick up the leaves, that works all right, out in the open, the city park mainly, and the triangle
Not
park.
the best, but it works.
Yeah. It's got a soft cap, that's good in the winter time, and, it's not the warmest, but it does the trick, you know? I would say in the winter, Steve had an option for us for I'd like to have everybody in this room drive that snow blower one time for 15 minutes. But everything is all mechanical. So I do a lot of pushing forward, backing up, pushing forward, backing up, pushing forward. Well, it's all by the lever here. Okay, that's no problem. I can pick it up. It's kind of heavy, but pick it up. When I lean forward and reach the lever, my shoulders both catch the, what do you call that? The controls there.
Yeah.
And so the controls make you go forward, and I don't want it to go forward. And then it's got a little spout out here, the turn of spout's got a little handle about a foot long, and you're like this. And Steve said we could, Lebersky said the guy could spend maybe $700-800 and he could put an actuator on it.
Yep.
And he could put all the controls right back on the arms where you can handle it with your hands here. That might make that a pretty good outfit. I'm gonna throw you guys some information, get a little homework on it. I know when you talk about used or new material, I know Justin would love to have a sweeper for the city. I'd be happy to take a used mower so you could put that money toward a sweeper. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting this together.
Does he have any used sweepers up there? Those, like that grasshopper?
Steve didn't, but he said he can put one on our grasshopper. They're about $4,000.
Yeah, I know. When they traded it in for that blower, they got about 500.
How come they never traded that in?
I don't know. That was before mine.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.
I agree, that would help out a lot.
The only one that has a limited time on it is Gordy's, the rest of these are
Correct. And then, nice thing about Steve is that,
local.
if it was for the city, you know, he pays his taxes to the cities. He has worked on a lot of my stuff on Sundays, cause he knows I need it done.
Is he gonna give a bill right away?
He would let us use it right away. I mean, which is huge. He'd give us some time, you know, if we wanted it now, and he'd bill us later, which is, it's always later for Steve, but.
That's what I wanted to,
Yeah.
have time to.
So you keep the one that's got the catcher behind it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would, if it's my own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
You
you
need it.
give that
Choose
stuff
another-
away. I don't
Thank-
know.
Thanks for getting the information, Paul.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. You're
I
welcome.
think what we'll do is we'll table this and that way you guys can have a chance to look it over. And do some more thinking and put it on next month.
Does he have any used ones on hand right now that you know of?
I
Paul?
do have the one down,
He does have one on hand, I mean,
yes,
that one with 450, he does have that
yes,
one? Okay.
absolutely, it's right there, ready to go.
Good.
I think we need to, and look at the options.
For $2,600, so you might as well go new and you
That's-
got a warranty.
Right. You can,
So we'll,
You never
we'll
know,
table
Steve,
that,
Steve,
put it on next.
Steve.
450 hours.
Thank you.
He's,
thank you,
Couple
Paul.
seasons, yeah, you're welcome.
A lot. Plus you're gonna warranty.
One other thing we're gonna do before we bring Jennifer on is, January financial report.
I don't have any, too much to say, we're gonna start really watching, cause I'll have the budget amendment done here, probably, hearing next month, so. Any expenses, big expenses we're gonna have, don't know, it's impossible. I can figure that in.
Truck and that,
If
yeah,
we're
the
this year,
couple big ones there.
Yes.
I just gotta
That's
say.
next year, so.
Huh?
He said the truck and that mower, I said that's for next year though.
Yeah, I mean, if we do decide to do it this year, I can, and then budget, because we do have, about 15,000 saved, and we're gonna transfer 2,500 more, so we have about 17,000
Where's
saved
it?
for tree equipment
Tree.
Okay.
savings, it's just we didn't budget to spend it, so we have it, I just can't budget it this year. Which is fine. So just if anything big comes up.
Finance is that.
Do we need a
You need a
motion?
motion?
Need a motion to
I'll
approve
make a
the,
motion.
I'll second that.
motion and a second for financials, can we have the call for the question?
Kroll,
Aye.
Jewel,
Aye.
Ansgar,
Aye.
Walk,
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, Jennifer, I guess we're gonna bring you out and let you, so you can get to your other meeting.
Right, well, good evening. Just wanted to bring for discussion the urban renewal joint agreement. You should have a copy in your packet. And this is in regards to the Mitchell County Urban Renewal Plan that is being amended, the urban renewal area, to include, you'll see attachment, quite a significant number of parcel ID numbers. These represent the legal description of the properties that may be considered. That does not necessarily mean that all properties submitted will meet the program guidelines. And by program, I'm referencing the Mitchell County Commercial Construction Incentive Program that we will be rolling out. And so you will notice on the agreement, section 1 is just basically giving permission to the county to include these properties in the urban renewal area. And section 2 does state the county is refraining from exercising any authority for collection of incremental property tax revenues. Those revenues would all go to the city, not to the county. So are there any questions on the agreement itself? It's pretty
These
straightforward
are
as agreements
strictly
go.
for, this is not strictly for commercial law, is it, all these locations?
No, this would be commercial, residential, combination of, yeah.
Are
So it
all,
would include properties in the industrial park as well as throughout the
are all
community.
these in St. Ansgar City?
No.
No, some of them are on the outskirts.
Okay.
Some are in the Rustad edition.
See, they have to, anything within 2
Well, I
miles.
see Mitchell County, I just didn't know if it was, it include Osage or.
Right, we have separate agreements, there are properties, yes, for
Within
Osage,
2 miles
Statesville,
of
and
the city,
Riceville.
the county has to take,
So basically, the agreement says that they can use the county money in the city, but they're not gonna take any tax
Not
money
gonna
out of the
take any
city.
tax out, so it would be to the benefit of the city to increase the tax revenues coming into the city.
What do you need for that, Tammy?
You guys have to,
approve the signature, I have to sign it. I would say, I talked to Pat Rourke today, he didn't see anything, he talked to you on this. There might have been one or so that the description wasn't right on, but he didn't think that would be a problem, so I guess I'd look for a motion to sign it after talking with Pat to make sure everything is copacetic, so.
Are these are these just empty lots, existing lots?
It would be a combination, some are empty, some may have a property that could be expanded upon, for commercial expansion, some could be, in some communities, we included lots where the potential is there to go in and buy, a home maybe that is falling down, that needs to be demolished and, yes, and build something new on that lot, so it's really a combination of,
Are the lots up here where they're wanting to do the new development, are they included in this?
No.
yeah.
Are they?
Thought they were.
There's no lots?
That's what I.
Nothing, there's
Oh,
lots.
wait, that is,
I don't think those are on
I
here.
don't think they're on there,
we don't have parcel IDs
right?
yet.
That's something totally different.
Yeah, I would have to, I apologize, I'd have to double check on that. There is an opportunity as we are gaining additional lots in, so for new subdivisions, we can come back and amend. We've already started a list of some we've identified across the county, and we can come in and amend and add additional parcel ID numbers too, so. Yeah, I'll have to check on that.
Cause I need to know, I mean, for my vote, I just wanna know, is that included? That would be a deal breaker for me.
Can I ask why? I'm just curious.
I'm not
Why
for,
that-
I'm not for
oh.
developing that at this time.
Oh, okay.
It's not that I'm not for developing it, it's
Okay.
just the cart's before the horse, and I think it's a
Okay.
little premature.
Okay.
We need to go back, we need to
They
get our
can't-
infrastructure
they
coming to
can't
that
be.
point.
Okay.
We're talking lift stations.
They can't be in a minute.
No.
I think that, yes, and I'm confusing, we had discussions about the new subdivision, but yeah, we don't have parcel IDs on
Right, they
anything
can't
yet,
be in
so.
there yet. I'll make the motion to, after Norm gets his final blessing from Pat Rorick, making sure the IDs are correct, that he can go ahead and sign this.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Call for the question?
Ansgar,
With the, understanding that the new subdivision is not on this, aye.
Walk,
Hey,
Grandville, aye, Grove,
I,
Jewel.
Aye.
Motion carried. So
Thank
as
you.
soon as I
We
get
will
that
have-
from him,
Yes, and we will have the program guidelines going out, to the cities this week. We'll have a press release that goes out, covering all the details of the program. And we'll have an application that should be available next week to start the process for that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Old business, South Square parking.
Well, I'm back. You know, I know, diagonal parking at South Square was voted down by a few of the council. But I am here this evening to request again for more diagonal parking spaces, especially around the perimeter of South Square. Plus, handicap parking is essential. I'm here for the old people in town here, for the elderly, as well as for the disabled, for the community center that South Square has become. And I've heard several reasons why some of the members have voted against having diagonal parking at South Square. One of the reasons was, with diagonal parking, we wouldn't gain any more space. Well, that is not true. As I drive around St. Ansgar, I seem to differ. I did some counting. And on the west side of Fox Building with the diagonal parking, you can fit 9 pickups or SUVs there, diagonal. Across the road next to the SAS building, which is just a half a block, only 4 cars fit in that space parallel. East of Paradise with diagonal parking, you can fit 9 vehicles in there, and across the street west, you can fit only 4 vehicles in that half a block parallel. At the White Deer Park, there's diagonal parking and parallel on the east side of the road. And in front of the Nissen Library here, there's a diagonal parking, and they put a no parking sign on the south side of that diagonal parking, and no one parks there. The Emmanuel Church has diagonal parking across the entire block, around their entire block, with handicapped areas out front, which meets their needs. The Methodist Church has diagonal parking on the east and south sides of the church, with parallel parking on the north side. And First Lutheran Church has diagonal parking and parallel parking spaces, with again, handicap parking spaces available. On the east side of the Damaris Hardware, there's a diagonal parking and parallel parking on the 4th Street side. Timeless Treasure has diagonal parking in front of the store and diagonal across, or parallel across the street, allowing only space for about 3 to 4 vehicles there. That's about a half a block. Then at City Park, we have diagonal parking on the east and north sides with no parking signs there. And at City Hall, we have diagonal parking all the way around it. And all of these areas with diagonal parking do provide more space for more vehicles. And as South Square is becoming more used, I feel we need the space. Another reason I got from somebody was, they told me that the fire marshal wouldn't allow it, wouldn't allow diagonal parking. Third, I also heard that Washington Street, where South Square is located, is actually a narrower street than other streets. I question that, but if that is the case, why not place a no parking sign on the east side of the Emmanuel Church parsonage? And not have parallel parking there, but allow diagonal parking in the front of the school, the South Square, as well as have the handicap parking spaces in front of each entrance door. So I wish, and I am requesting, to please reconsider our request once again for parallel parking, at least around the perimeter of the South Square. And I question why not South Square. I did receive this letter from Ed and Diane Collier by messenger a couple of days ago, and I'll read it to you. Residential properties border the school, South Square. Lots of meetings and fun activities are being hosted. Ed and I would really consider moving diagonal parking to the side where the building is located and parallel parking on our side of the street. That would be on the north side, the north of the north side, okay? And when school was in season, they had activities, of course, but we understood the need of buses to park parallel by the school. But we had weekends, evenings, most of the time, and summers to enjoy a normal residential atmosphere. It will also help when the fences are moved, opening up the blacktop area, at least in part for off-street parking per the zoning requirements. It is exciting to see the building bloom again, and in no way do we wish to block that process. This is our home. We are hoping that we can still be allowed to have some semblance of a normal residential area. Parallel parking would really help buffer our side of the street, the north side of Fifth Street, in accordance with our neighbors on the other three sides of South Square. Thank you for all of your hard work. So my question is, why not provide diagonal parking around the perimeter of the school, on the front, south, and north side at least, of South Square, and then also provide handicap parking? I know a lot of the older people are having a harder time parallel parking, and I think diagonal parking would help them too. There's a lot of them that participate in bingo and that, so. Thank you for your time, and I just leave this with you. Thank you very much.
I wish Lance was here. We did talk about that a little bit. One of the issues we have in the perimeter of that property is diagonal parking. We're getting out into the travel portion of the street. That's one of the issues.
I wonder if we have lines though, if people wouldn't go up to the curb?
Well, even if they went to the curb, I think that area is too short, the way Lance talked.
It's no different than in front of Emmanuel. Been there, I have pictures of people diagonal parking on both sides of Fifth Street at Emmanuel. I took pictures 3 different times, and they're diagonal parking on both sides, and South Square Street is no different.
There's not supposed to be diagonal parking.
That may be.
Okay.
And that's not even what Lori's asking for, but your point to say that there's not space, it can't be true. Can't be true.
On the north side,
There is
Well-
space on the north side.
yeah, on the north side.
Either way,
not
it's
the
the same
east
amount
or
of
west.
But they
space
come out into the travel portion of the road.
than they are at Emmanuel too then.
Yeah, they are. During church time, yeah, they are.
Most of that parked on the north side by Emmanuel, though, was parked in front of the house, and they're pulled up pretty close to the sidewalk.
But it's the same amount of space.
No, it ain't.
Well, I'm sorry, but it is.
Can we have it measured? It's gotta be a discrepancy. I
Have it
feel
measured.
that maybe,
Indeed, it should.
when they talked about it here a few months ago, when Lance gave out his ruling on that, there wasn't enough north of the school.
Why don't we try it?
Saturday I
measured.
went through, they were diagonal parking.
They were all the way there.
When I went through on Saturday, and it was pretty close.
It was very narrow.
You didn't want to meet anybody.
I think it's also worth mentioning that there's no concrete plans to take down the fence or no concrete plans of what's even happens to the playground. The board has not addressed what happens to the playground
I
yet.
thought at their annual meeting, they had volunteers to tear that fence out.
Yeah, they have volunteers to do it, but the board didn't have them take that
Well,
action.
they didn't make that
They
action.
didn't take that action, no. There hasn't been any.
Wouldn't that be a great place to park?
It Sure would.
Yeah.
on the playground?
Sure would.
Yeah.
It's up to the board.
Yep, there's no,
So they decided not to take the fence?
Cause there was limited parking.
They haven't
and I
decided to do.
They haven't decided
either
either
way.
way.
That's my thing is, you got a big chunk of area to park of asphalt, why aren't we? And another thing, if we say go through this again, address it, and we say no again, and we said no last meeting, every weekend people are diagonal parking anyway. So,
Yeah, because somebody.
are people going to respect the wishes of not doing it? Cause right now they're not.
Couple, 3 months ago, we went through all this.
Yep.
Yes, at our codification meeting.
And there was,
The plan is being formulated and then they'll approve something or other to do with the playground. I mean, nothing's been done to the playground yet. Nothing serious, I mean.
So what does it take to have it measured to decide that it's different than what's in front of Emmanuel, that there is a difference?
I think the thing we need to do is we'll probably put it to our street committee and let them,
Yeah, I'll Conrad measure it.
have Conrad measure it and work with Lance and come up
They're
with a
a
determination.
little different now, cause before you talked, you wanted, it was gonna be parallel on both sides, on the north side, correct? And now
No
you,
angle on both sides.
angle
Right,
on,
angle on both sides.
it was angle on both, right? Okay.
But now,
No.
didn't you recommend
No.
on the Collier side to do parallel?
Yeah,
there?
now.
Yes.
Now
Now.
it's gonna
Collier's
be
side
So
parallel.
that's
wants
different.
parallel.
That's right.
So that gives you more room.
I mean, Colliers want parallel. I'm
Okay.
speaking for them with this letter they sent me.
I do know
On
there's
the
a water
north
issue right
side
in
where
front
they
of
live,
the
you
building
know,
as well.
parallel.
There's a
But
water issue on the
diagonal
south side too,
Around
Yeah,
the closest
huge water
area
issue in front.
around the school,
in the southeast
by the
corner.
sidewalk,
Mhm.
yeah.
That water just sits in there.
I guess it'd be my recommendation that we turn it back over to the street committee and get some measurements and work with Lance on it and
Lance and Conrad and never measured up.
you get it figured out and address it again. I mean, you know, it's like. But in the meantime, it is parallel parking along there and it, you know, somebody is starting it by diagonal parking on the east side and that does cause an issue, you know, so.
Well, can't it just be like football season?
I knew that was-
Well, if Roger was here, he actually came in and asked
Yep.
whoever had their cars parked, parallel to park them diagonal. So we did have people move their cars diagonal on Saturday,
Instead of parallel.
yes. Cause there were some doing one way, some doing another, and he came in and he asked, I asked him to come to this meeting tonight.
Yeah, well,
And
It's still
that's
not-
the reason it was
not
done
answering.
on
See,
Saturday
Lance
that
has
way.
come.
Lance is here.
You wanna get in the middle of this, Lance?
No, I don't,
Sure, what am I in the middle
The-
of?
the
Were we
Parallel
discussing
parking.
Southward parking?
South square parking,
Diagonal.
diagonal,
Or parallel.
On the north?
north and east.
Or the east.
So where are we at? I mean,
Well, we're.
I know we decided before with count we were gonna leave it as is.
Right. Now they're requesting us revisit it.
There's a new request,
Lance?
Lance, and
Yeah.
what the talk is now is angle parking on the north side in front of the building. And across the street where that
Gravel.
gravel area is to parallel park there on Collier's side. So before
They
it
sent
was,
me a
it
letter
was angle,
asking
angle,
for
now
that.
it's angle parallel.
Right.
Opening
You're
that,
going on the gravel.
which I don't think you're gaining any more street,
No.
simply because the other, they were off the street, or maybe the back of a large pickup, you know, would be sticking on the street.
We recommended maybe taking some measurements, having Conrad measure that out, where the street is, and kinda,
It was just, no discussion, there's been no action on have that fence taken out,
Oh, sure.
like the board
No.
talked about, so that's still pending.
So I guess it's your guys' saying to have Conrad measure it before we go farther?
Yeah, and
Right.
work with the.
And I will help Conrad if I can, you know, to do anything. I guess over where those teachers used to park where it's not blacktop now, it's, well, it might have been, but it's rock and stuff. So if they're gonna parallel park over there, Or are they gonna put blacktop in there to build that up a little bit, or what are they gonna do there?
That's an additional issue.
Yeah. I think you'd almost wanna do something, cause that's pretty low there.
It's really low, no.
That'd be the next thing.
Okay. Well, if you want me to, I can talk to Conrad and help him, we can measure, and then we can see if it's feasible or not. If that's what we wanna do, then I'll be willing to help Conrad, and yes.
And bring it to the.
Bring it to the next meeting, that's fine, sure. I'll be glad to do that, whatever you need me to do. Sure.
Okay, so is that sufficient, Lori, for us to look into it again?
Yeah, and, you know, maybe consider a no parking sign, like on the,
Parsonage side?
on the parsonage side. You know, that would free up some space there if you had no parking there, no parking sign. Now that there's no school, you know, and,
Oh, I see, well, okay,
you know where the
across there,
stop
yep, I know what you
sign
mean,
is?
yep.
In front of, like by their driveway, and that
And then in
space
Craig
there that
Dunn's
probably
area,
has
there's one.
Right,
room for about 3 cars. That would free that side up, if you did their diagonal in the front.
Like
We'd
across
like-
from the library.
The handicap
Right.
parking areas too, you know, we asked for the older folks that would have been going things. It'd be nice to have,
I don't think that'd be a issue of putting a handicap spot there, I don't know why we couldn't do that, that's an easy thing to do.
Would,
That's
would
the
parking,
sign. That's the
parking
paint.
signage for there
Paint
and
the sign.
I
also
think that's
painting
theirs.
the blacktop, or would that
I
come
feel.
out of the city, or would that be a South Square thing?
I would think it'd come out of South Square. My feeling, I guess, I can't answer for everybody.
Painting the city road though?
I'll have to look at that.
And what about like parking,
Ordinance, I'm not
parking
sure what it
signs?
says. It's city property, right, up to their sidewalk, so
Yeah, I mean, the church pays for their own painting. You're gonna open up a whole nother can.
Does it?
Yeah, both churches do.
Okay.
we'll look at the ordinance.
If the parking lot gets,
We're gonna follow the ordinance.
if you get to use the parking lot for parking,
well,
does that
you
solve your
know,
problem?
that's still up in
Yeah,
the
it's up
air,
in the
so
air.
we don't have that right now.
Yeah, but
I
that
mean,
should be
we had
acted on
volunteers.
Yeah,
quickly.
but did we get that problem?
Oh, yeah, solve it all.
Yeah,
Be
probably,
lots
it
of
would
parking.
help,
Oh, it really help.
but I don't know what the board plans
Yeah,
to do.
well, I think we can move forward on that one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. And we don't know if it's gonna continue,
Yeah,
you know?
so that's not gonna
Let Paul
happen.
talk about Christmas
We
lights.
probably have to wait at least
we're
another
gonna-
year to see.
We're gonna
if it's
turn it
gonna
over to the
go.
street
Yeah.
committee and have Lance and Conrad work on this.
Yep.
And they'll bring a
Parking
recommendation
don't cost
back
that much.
to the council, hopefully
But
by
South
next
Square,
week.
I mean, we
Okay.
don't know if it's gonna exist another year.
We're gonna keep moving on with our
So-
agenda.
You can't really put money into something that you don't know.
Christmas lights,
I don't know too much about them.
you don't know anything about them?
We'll be quick, there's stuff in the paper right now, the chamber's raising some money.
Okay.
I know most of those things are sales going on the end of March, but kinda like Paul said earlier with the lawnmowers, it's not really, let's buy something quick so we can get it on sale. So at this point, like I said, I'm not gonna just throw a number at the dartboard with the city, we don't know what's coming anywhere else. So I'm saying no action on that,
Okay, thank you.
let it ride. Relocating the stoplight on Fourth Street, spoke to
Paul.
Steve Phipps this
Excuse me.
afternoon. Yeah.
Paul said that the council would make a decision tonight as to what you would,
I did not say nothing like that.
yes, you did,
I
you did to
not,
me,
Karen.
you
So
did
what
too.
are,
I
what are
did
they?
not, I've only been to one of your meetings at Paradise, and I never made that comment.
Yes,
And
you
I'll tell you my thought on that, if you want us to make a decision right now, we can make a decision, but it's not gonna be much money. If you wanna wait on it, it'll be more money. So, we can make a decision right now for the sake of making a decision and say, I don't know, $500, $1,000, sure, but if we wait and we get a good plan, my feeling is, I'll at least put it forward, that the city will try and come up with the money to make it to whatever it's gonna cost.
What's this thing going in the paper?
I read about, Alex, did you write it?
Board of Supervisors said no.
Well, I know that the board of supervisors said no, but last week or 2 weeks ago, talking about the lights, and, they're gonna bring something up at the chamber annual meeting about, fundraising on it.
Okay.
And I know I talked to Kathy Falk about it, and they were looking at businesses on Fourth Street and stuff, putting together some
Furnace
money.
either.
So if we wanna just throw a dollar figure at it, we can go ahead and do that and call it good.
Last meeting I was doing Christmas night, they were talking about grants.
Yep.
Fundraising.
And looking for more grants fundraising, yep.
And both grants have been denied.
The grants have been denied.
Yep, they've all been denied.
Yeah.
Is that right,
Yep.
Karen?
the Rotary too.
Both Rotary and the County Board of Supervisors.
We still have one out to Omnitel, I think.
Yep, and that one would be March or April, right? With Lance's iPad, same grant cycle. Yeah, that's my thought on it is,
Let's see what we're getting for money.
yep, I mean, well, we can throw a number at it, but that's the number.
Okay.
And I would much rather,
Well, that one's coming.
Put it on next month?
it'll be a fixture. And then the stoplight, talk to Steve
Just
Hitch
let's
about it.
finish this up. What are we gonna do on this? We're gonna wait until next month on the Christmas lights?
Well, when's the grant money coming, or when do you know
Well,
on
the
that?
chamber meeting is in April. I would even wait until May.
Till May.
Wait to see
Okay.
grants
So
and
then-
see some fundraising, so we have more concrete numbers. So,
On the Christmas lights and the relocating the stoplight, do we need to have
Those
a
are two,
vote?
Those are two different things.
they're two different
I understand that,
yeah,
but
I don't think we need
do we
I
need a
don't think
vote?
we need
No.
to,
Yeah.
because we're not,
Action?
vote to not do anything. I don't think so.
Put it on the,
May.
excuse me, May agenda,
May
please.
agenda. I
Yeah,
know,
but they got a meeting.
you got a meeting.
Yeah, chamber annual meeting will be after April.
Alright,
Then on the stoplight,
stoplight,
I talked to Steve about that, and for as often as they've been replacing it, it's like 20 years old. There's recommendation to upgrade to LEDs, so no matter what. Also with the relocation, that pole right there has that clock on it. That's an unmetered circuit, Alliant just kinda lets it go, gives it to us. So right now, there's no power there, so I need to get with Alliant on that to get an actual cost. But I've got a estimate right here from Steve on what it would cost to just put up a new one there, with LEDs. Like I said, that, it's like $3,800. I'll make copies of this so people can see it. But the other part of that would be the one we currently have, I would recommend we upgrade it to LEDs. Is
What's that, just for that one?
to upgrade that to LEDs, around $500. So he always keeps a flasher
Yep.
on the shelf for it,
so,
and he wants to know if he should order an LED to upgrade it next time it goes.
so we're talking, leaving that one and putting another one in?
Well, I think for right now, he's just saying.
We're just looking
upgrade
at, we
that.
need to do something about that one, cause it keeps having to get repaired.
And I know at the meeting we had Friday night, we talked about maybe those stop signs up there, putting, the flashing stop signs.
Oh, like that's a good idea.
LEDs that go around it.
That's a good idea.
So we have more work to do on this.
Yeah, there's more work to do,
Make
but what I would like to, right now, is make a motion to switch to LEDs.
Does he have any bulbs left for that right now, or?
Nope, he needs to order bulbs, that's why
Okay.
Steve wanted to know.
The question, if we switch that to LED, can that be used, can that be moved?
Yep.
Yep.
It
So
can be
then
moved.
that $3,800 isn't,
Exactly, so that $3,800 is for brand new everything. If we were gonna just move that, he was estimating 6 to 12 man hours, and be bucket truck hours. So, but I gotta get to Alliant first, to see if they wanna treat it like our, streetlights, where they just kinda know the wattage of it and they just send a flat monthly bill, or if they wanna throw a meter up on that pole, or what have you.
I'd say for the time being,
I'd say we upgrade that to LEDs.
I
The
agree.
LED, you're using no power now, I mean, it kind of should be
And
a
it's
mood
better
issue.
quality, yeah, yeah.
it burns
But
out,
I'm using
it burns
power
out
now.
quite frequently.
Yes, yep,
But
and
on
so,
the upgrade is what I'm talking about, is usage, it should just, go out, that shouldn't be a problem.
yeah, exactly,
Need a motion to have him change that?
yeah.
I'll make the motion, give, Ben permission to get our flashing stoplight changed to LED, and, have St. Ansgar Electric do that.
I'll second that motion.
so we got a motion and a second. Call for the question?
Ansgar,
Aye.
Walk,
I,
Campbell,
Abstain.
Brooke, Jewel.
Alright,
It's carried.
thank
Oh,
you.
that would,
Into the new
especially with
business.
the LED, that'll take
Housing task force, no one's,
Just an update on the you guys, housing task force met.
they met, and there's nobody here, he decided not to come, so.
Okay.
Alright, the joint agreement, we've done, speed bumps.
Okay, that's my item, okay. I didn't think you went to all you have it. Look at Rose's. I looked at, what I'm looking at is just 4 speed bumps. Now it says 4 signs at $90. You get 5 if you look at the second page, because they only come in packets of 5. I don't know why that is. That I have outlined there. So I kind of rounded up to for tax and so on and so forth. So intersections would be Franklin and 8th and School and 8th. There's already stop signs there. I would be looking at adding a speed bump to each side, putting the sign. Now, Lance, do you know, can a speed bump sign be attached below the stop sign if it's at the same location?
I wouldn't know why it couldn't, I guess I could check, but I